How about now? And this is part of what I'm going to talk about in a minute. So um, let me check, make sure I can hear myself. This should kick in just a second. There we go. This is part of what I'm going to talk about. Okay, so I can hear myself on here, so I think we're good. All right, how's everybody doing today? Um, that kind of situation is being remedied as we speak. So basically, my situation has been I'm been floating between rooms. Um, this section is in one room, and then I have another part of the apartment I go to when the fam. See, I'm basically running away from the family, trying to get everything together. And so, to get anything done in the morning, I have to tear all this down, take it to the other room, set it all up, and set the settings to do other recording and those kind of things. And so, what ended up happening is I'm having a technical nightmare with these things. So, I got fed up. And I just spent some money. So I'm going to have two complete setups here. So if I can't be in one room, I'll have another room to be in, and I won't have to reset everything up, have the technical problems that I've been having for the past all weekend, which has been driving me nuts. So, um, new, and the shame is I have most of this stuff and it's all in storage. So I have another webcam. I have, you know, oh, and then my other interface. This is my PreSonus AudioBox USB limited edition, and so I guess limited means it only works for a limited amount of time. So over the weekend, when I would set all my equipment up in the other room, uh, was having gremlins, couldn't figure out why nothing was working. Everything sounded off. It was this. It's done. It's toast. So I've had to order another one of these. So with Amazon being the way they are right now, everything should be here by next Sunday. And I will have two separate rigs. So then I can just focus on the guitar playing and the hanging out and not on resetting up equipment all day long. So very happy I got to that conclusion. So and I'm going. Let me turn that down. So I'm going to check the chat now. So the no sound should be fixed. Evan says there it is. Mark says yes. Hey Mark, how you doing? Chris says sound. I think Chris said he's in a Zoom family quiz. Hey there, Ward family quiz. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. Sorry about that. Evan says, all right, it's beautiful outside. It is beautiful outside. It is just wonderful outside. The fresh air going through my mask as I'm walking around the apartment grounds it's been lovely. It's been lovely. So we have a few. We got about eight, 9 people in here. Everybody's slowly coming in. Here's David. He's popping in. We're getting the gang all here. We're just gonna kind of wrap up the week, and I'm gonna start talking about the podcast. I haven't had a chance to even think about the podcast, which happens tomorrow, and this happens more times than you would think. So we're gonna talk about if anybody has any ideas about the podcast. I have some ideas too, but I'm open to seeing whatever. If there's any really good suggestions, right now it's a blank slate for the podcast. Although I do have a list of a whole bunch of things I can rely on in a situation like this. So new things, new situations. This whole time is everything is new and learning how to deal with things in our new world that we're living in. So Sunday and end of the week, beginning of the next week. How's your practicing going? Let's talk about songs today. We've talked about the tough stuff all the time. Let's talk about the fun stuff today. I'm gonna I'm going to take a list of some songs that I want to learn that I've never learned before, and wondering what songs everyone has been working on. And for some of the other people, Mark and Dean and all like that, let's know a little bit about your playing and how things have been going and what songs that you're working on today too. I know that there's a song. I'm going to make my list now. This is my long-term list. Hey, Chris is here. Good to see you, Chris. My long-term list, the one of the it was on last night. I talk about this album a lot. It's a Larry Carlton album. It's called "Don't Give It Up," and it's a fast instrumental song that has some really tough picking. And I've only ever kind of scratched the surface. I love the song. I try to jam over it a few times, but I've never actually learned it. So that's going to be the first one that I would like to tackle. That's one of those songs that you start to play it for a few minutes and you realize this is going to take a lot longer than I thought. So file that. So this is one of the songs I have in file. It's called "Don't Give It Up" by Last Night. We've been talking about Pink Floyd. Evan says "Time." Just gonna work on "Time." Yeah, I've got it. I'm gonna pick a Gilmore and a Satriani sense. So those are the two players we've been talking about. Satriani, I never learned Satch Boogie, so I think that's the one I'm going to pick for him. And the Gilmore song, I got to think about that. Played a lot. How about this? I'm going to learn "Time" too. I'm going to learn "Time" along with Evan. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. So there's 3 for me. I'm going to try and find 2 more. This is going to be my little long-term list here. Dean's been working on pentatonic positions, no songs. That's okay. Sometimes a really good focus time, if you know it's something you really need to tackle, it's okay to take a break from learning songs. Let's see here. What else? I want to learn something different. So I've got kind of a fusiony shuffle for last night with Larry Carlton for a Pink Floyd song. Satch Boogie is an up. It's almost like a ZZ Top type song. It's his version of like an up tempo ZZ Top. Let me see. I'm gonna look at the chat for a while and think about 2 more songs. Let's see what everybody's been doing. So David says, I've been trying to find chord progression songs that are fun to play to help pick up my speed between chords. Chord progression song that are fun to play. Let's find some here. Let's find a good list of say 33 chord songs. I know a lot of the Southern rock songs are pretty easy to play, of the big ones. See, let's check this one out. I've seen this post before. Yeah, a lot of like the Creedence songs, Proud Mary, those kind of things, Wonderful World. And even if they're not songs that you really are into, it's good to get them under your belt, and it's good to have songs like that where people might ask you, hey, can you play me a few songs, something that people know. I know, like, we all have our music that we really want to play, that we really are into, but sometimes it's worth it to have a few go-to songs. This one's okay. This one's got like knocking on heaven's door. That's always a. So what's this? Guitar habits. I'm gonna pop this in the chat. So David, take a look at those. Try and find a few that you like from there. Some easy 3-chord songs. Let's see here. Let me go back. There was David. Evan says, "Good Times, Bad Times" by Zeppelin. Yeah. Brennan says, Brennan's +1 on Time. And let's see here. Evan says, "I'm just planning to learn the structure first, then put the solo section." That's good. Yeah, I'll take a listen to that too. And Chris is a +1 on that. Brennan, I listened to Metal this weekend. It's really good. Early Pink Floyd's melody. Yeah, every Floyd album has got some really good stuff in it. There's a lot you can get into. Doors, Last Night by Calvin Russell. Some more. I usually make a note when I hear them. Mark says, "Only been playing a couple months. Before this, all started was getting in 2 hours a day. Now it's an 8-hour day." Wow, man, lots of riffs, but going to pick some songs now and learn them through. Man, I'm jealous. I want 8 hours to practice. I can do that. I can switch gears into doing that pretty quick. Maybe that your extra time that you found isn't something you wanted. I'm not trying to. I think it's great that you're filling your time with practice, though. So, thanks for sharing that, Mark. Let's see here. Suzanne for Chris. David says, John Petrucci, "Wishful Thinking" would be a cool song to learn. I'm gonna check that one out. Evan's here. Hey, Evan, how are you doing? What's it called? Wishful Thinking. I'll check that one out. Okay. Mark says, "Sunshine of Your Love." Yeah, that's a great tune, and people love when you play that song too. It works, and it doesn't even matter with the crowd. It's one of those songs that just works all the time. Like, what was that song? Mustang Sally. We used to have to play. You get so tired of playing that song, but man, it works. It doesn't matter who you're playing for. Always works. There's a couple songs like that work no matter if you're playing it at a concert hall or like a country club or let's see here. David says, "I put a cool 3-chord song in my practice video I just loaded." Good, great. I'm looking forward to check it out. I'm going to do those videos tonight. Uploaded. Awesome. Let's see here. Chris was learning Manic Depression. I need to revisit it. Yeah, Manic Depression is good. Crosstown Traffic is a really good one too. So, and there's a couple really good Hendrix tunes that are worth it. That take a few minutes to learn. Not just a straight chord song. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you guys a question. While I think of some more songs for me to learn, for all that free time that I've got. So the podcast this week. Now we've been talking about David Gilmour and Joe Satriani, and we on a Saturday, last Saturday, the Saturday before, I think gosh, all these days are, last week. We did both Satriani and Gilmour, and we haven't done a Satriani podcast yet. I just may do that now. I'm kind of on the fence if it's too soon after the Gilmour one, if I should break it up a little bit, maybe do something that's a little more practice oriented, more helpful practice things. So what I would like to do is ask you a question. Satriani this week or next week. So I guess the easy way is just one for this week, two for next week. How about that? Maybe it'd be an easy way to do it. One for next or this week for the Satriani and two for the next. Okay. So Evan says, came across a Cream Clapton song, Spoonful. Yeah. And it's also a Howlin' Wolf song. I remember hearing Howlin' Wolf do Spoonful. Seems to have a lot of different licks and not too fast. Yeah, and I got to play with here, let me look up Howlin' Wolf Spoonful. Get a link for that. I'm not gonna play it, but I'm gonna put it into the chat here. So here is Howlin' Wolf Spoonful. I got to play. I actually got to hang out with Hubert Sumlin, who was Howlin' Wolf's guitar player. He's passed away now. A few times. One time I was actually he did a headlining show in Atlanta at the Darwin's Festival. Darwin's was a really cool blues club in Marietta, I think it was. It was north of Atlanta, and once a year they would put a big stage up outside, have this big outdoor festival, and Hubert Sumlin was the headliner, and we were his backup band, the band I played with E.G. Kite, and so I got to play with him on that one, got to share licks with him, and that was fun. But we were also playing a lot of festivals at the time, and I got to spend time with him when we weren't playing with him, but like backstage and stuff, and hear a lot of different stories of his and on the road stories, those kind of things. One was about he was in the bathroom in Las Vegas. They would travel from Chicago to Las Vegas. I dropped my pick, the blue pick. And he was on the road, and they stopped in Las Vegas. They were on the way from Chicago to Los Angeles, and Vegas was on the way. And they stopped in like a gas station or something like that to use the bathroom, and there was slot machines in the bathroom. And Hubert Sumlin was just in there and just put a coin in there and hit it, and took all the got all the change that was pouring out. He said it was just pouring out of the machines, and he tied his bottom of his pants there and filled his pants up with all this change, and had to walk out of the. He was afraid he was going to get mugged walking from the bathroom back to the car. But he said that money that they made, that he got hitting that machine, kept them. They barely made any money playing back then, and that money from the machine kept them eating for like months. He shared it with everybody in the band. So that was neat. That was a neat memory that I have. Okay. So David says he's ready for it for this week for a Satriani. And it says in between chords, how to do this little fills that move between chords. So okay, that's a good idea too, in between chords. Chord fills. CHORDFILLS. So that's a good idea too. One, same, three parts. Okay, Evan says that's amazingly Hubert Sumlin. That's a story. Yeah, it was fun. That was the lady that I played with. Her booking agent was the same booking agent for a lot of these older blues guys at the time, and we'd see him because we played in Memphis at the Handy. It was called the Handy. It's called the Blues Music Awards now, but it was the Handy Awards back then. And I got to meet like Coco Taylor and all these, just really, really cool people. And and we got to, I guess they got comfortable with us and saw us play and everything. So we got to sit in, backed up. Pine Top Perkins got to back up him. He was Muddy Waters piano player, and heard a lot of stories from him. And that was in um, where University of Georgia is, Athens. So there was a place called the Hot Corner in Athens, and we got to back him up. So I got to play with some of the classic blues musicians. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Um, David says maybe a good idea is to do a welcome back to guitar for people trying to find quarantine activities, tips on how to jump back in after being away for a long time. That's a great idea too. Welcome back to guitar. Thank you, David. That's a great idea. Evan says, I don't want to stand in the way of Satch either. So, I'm going to do one on Satch. Because last week was, so for us, this is a core group here. So we have 12, let's see, we have like 12. The first couple ones we had a lot of people checking it out, and the core people here, which I figured was going to happen, it's been between, 15 to 20 people. Sometimes we get like 30, 40 people, so when you do stuff every day, this is going to happen. But the core people are here, and the core people one is not always what's mass. We're intense on what we're doing, but for the podcast, which is some people just enjoy listening to the podcast now and then. Breaking it up usually is a good idea. So Satriani is definitely either, if I don't do it tomorrow, I'm definitely going to do it the following week. But those are both great ideas. Those give me some great ideas. Okay. Right. So let's see here. While I'm waiting, I got to think of a few more songs. What would be some good songs for me to work on too? Let's see. I really, which is really odd for me, but Marty has been learning that Slash and whatever that other band is song, the Anastasia, and I kind of have that song stuck in my head a little bit. I might take a look at that too. At some point, I've had to be very careful about copyright things and not playing other people's songs. If you guys in the you guys that are in the founding things, you see that I'm just saying learn the songs, and if you guys learn a song and play it for me, that's fine. I can't really put those on the Academy without paying the money for them, which I don't have right now. But what a lot of these guys do is they'll form a separate channel and put up free teaching songs. And so it may seem like I just don't do songs. I do tons of songs. I do have, when I would do in-person lessons, that's all we did. We would do, I know lots of songs, and I'm really good at learning different songs. So I may start doing, when everything calms down and the Academy is finally up, I may start doing some YouTube videos on a separate channel for free for teaching songs, and see how that goes. I don't know. Evan says, go for the volume. What podcast topics got your most listens? Well, definitely the most listens has been my first one, which is the learning guitar in 2018. I think it was. That was my very first. That was my very first one, and that has a lot of listens. And I guess, that's a lot of people will go, okay, he's got a lot of podcasts. Let's start at the beginning there. And so but the career beginner one, helping career beginners, that was huge. That also got a ton of response. People emails just poured in from that one. People said, "Oh, you figured me out." So that career beginner one was big. Um, Biggest video on YouTube was the practice space. Set up your perfect practice space, which is not real big because my YouTube channel is small at this point. Uh, but that's been a good one. Um, what else? I hit it with the on the podcast with a couple different ones. But the truth is, most of the podcasts are pretty even. I get a lot of people who binge through the podcast. So they might find one that they like to start on and then continue on for there. Some people listen whole. What are we at? 120. We're over. The podcast is over 300,000 downloads right now. So it's getting there. You know, the this virus stuff, everything kind of all the downloads went down. Probably did for a lot of people because I know for a fact I have a lot of people that listen on their trips to work. So the podcast numbers went down. They're starting to come back up. People are starting to want some sort of normalcy in their life. So, but but the podcast episodes are all the same. And it used to be that I'm with Libsyn, and that they just host the podcast, and they would do numbers where they do Spotify numbers and then everybody else numbers. And so that was separated. And about last year, they combined them. So I always have to go back and look at those early Spotify numbers too. But we're well over 300,000 downloads by now. We got a couple come in here. Evan says, "LOL, I never doubted you could play songs." Thanks, man. No, I gotta be careful. You gotta be careful, man. You know, you don't want to get any mail that tells you any cease and desist. Right. Chris says, "How about how to build a solo?" Awesome. That's a great idea. I think I did something close to that, but not exactly that. So that would be a good one. Solo. I'm probably counted at least. Evan says, "I've probably counted at least several times for each episode." Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Might be a series, how to build a solo. Yeah, that'd be a good one. We've talked a lot about this in the group. Yeah. Brennan's binged the podcast while driving to work. Thank you, Brennan. I appreciate that. And Chris says, "Can't remember an episode on it." Yeah, I'll look back. What's nice, I remember when I first started, and Chris was one of the first people that I got to know when the podcast came out. And I remember when it first started, I could tell you every single thing I talked about in every single episode. And I spent a lot of time on each episode and the blog posts and all those kind of things. And at some point, I guess that's when you know you're a podcaster, when you can't remember everything that you podcasted about. So I have to look back too. All right, so let's see here. Brennan says it's a little different working from home. I don't listen to as many podcasts. Yeah, that happened to me when I started podcasting. The reason I went into podcasting instead of YouTube was to be different. Was also to be a lot of the topics that I found were the most helpful, and the things that people weren't talking about that would actually help you get better, could be described pretty easily in a few sentences. And then in a podcast where you could delve into those things, it could be very helpful. And I just thought that the whole idea of free content is actually being helpful and actually getting results. And as folks like you have discovered the podcast, and as other people who who may not be this core group of people who are sending emails, and that actually are getting better with this stuff instead of getting stuck. And so the podcast is going along fine, and the YouTube channel just needs attention. And what'll happen, from what I understand, is as I get more regular and figure out a way to take this content and make it video friendly, which I think we're getting close to. I think the experiment that we're working on is going to take off over time. But as that goes on, I think the YouTube channel is going to greatly pass the podcast. Everybody's afraid of YouTube because of the negative. People say negative stuff. I've had a few negatives here. I've only had one bad one, two negative. One was an email. One was a review. Out of all of those podcasts, only two, and of course it floored me for like a day, and then you just figure, well, I started looking at people I liked listening to and watching on YouTube, and see all the terrible things that people say to them. So it's been pretty positive. It's just been, these things take time, and since I'm not doing the things that teenagers would go and click on like right away. I'm not doing those things. It's the kind of thing you have to build an audience. So I'm committed to YouTube now, and keeping the podcast going, and kind of combining them and trying to find a smart way of presenting them that's the best for each of the platforms. And things are going to go good. Things are going to go good. So let's see here. It's a little different working from boy, Brennan, I really went off topic on that one. I don't listen to as many podcasts. Yeah, I think people watch YouTube a lot more than listen to podcasts. I don't know. What do I know? But it seems like I would watch YouTube more. I do watch YouTube more than I listen to podcasts now. I was home anyway, but over time I've done that since I was home. Dean says, I started the podcast at the newest one and have been listening backwards. I think I'm at 47. All the way back to 47. Thank you, Dean. That's awesome. Yeah, there's some, I think the majority of them are pretty helpful. There's, you're always going to have some stinkers in there. Not all of them are good. I'm really grateful to the Facebook group for that whole. There was a time there I was really having a hard time, and I was this close to just taking a break from the podcast. And those Q&A episodes, which went on too long, admittedly, but had to because of the stuff that was personal things that were going on, and just and not having the time, so the Facebook, you and most of you here are in the group, and those Q&A sessions really kept the podcast going when I was having a tough time. So I really appreciate that. So some of them, as you go through those Q&As, there's a chunk of the podcast that are Q&A episodes, and there's some really good information in those, and they turn over fast. But at some point you want something different, So let's see. David says, do podcasters like Marty Music pay royalties to teach known songs? So for his videos, I listened to an interview with him once, and he said he was talking about courses and saying, well, you can't really do songs in courses. If you notice, his courses don't have songs in them. If you've ever bought any of his courses, he has these little mini $30 courses, and from what he said at the time, now it may be different since I've said that, he's like, what? So he would do like a blues course or those kind of things. But I do know there's a place in YouTube let's see here. I'll have to look it up. And where YouTube actually pays for some sort of mechanical rights for some sorts of songs. So you can do a cover, those kind of things, but they still go in and they take any kind of monetization that you wouldn't. So I guess they allow you to do these songs. There's a whole list of songs that you can cover, but they're going to come in. And so for those people, I'm not one, but those people who their livelihood is AdSense and those things on YouTube, whoever owns those songs comes in and takes everything from those songs. So you get the exposure of teaching a song that a lot of people are typing into looking for, but I don't think you get the ad revenue, so it's the kind of thing I really need a lawyer for, and someday I'm going to get one, but I've got a lot of work to do before that happens. Okay, so Dino says, finally here. Hey, Dino, awesome that you're here. Evan says, I have listened to almost every episode multiple times. Oh, I'm sorry, man. You listen to me. You've listened to me go on and on a lot. And Mark says, I drive up to 6 hours a day and listen to podcasts almost the whole time. That's a big drive. I hope that's not a commute and that's your actual job is driving, because that'd be a long commute. Yeah, when I'm driving and I'm going places, that's what I'm doing. I'm listening to podcasts. I just download them on my phone at home before I leave. And I'm just not doing a lot of driving lately. Seven says, I dropped the guitar for the most part about 20 years ago, and the podcast has been more motivation to get things going in than anything else I found. Thanks. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. So I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get people that have actual results and let them know it's not that difficult. It's something you can do. I've seen people who can play guitar that you would never think they would be able to, right? They just lucked out and found the path, they found it's a narrow path. Everything's presented to you. It's wide open. And yeah, you can go over here and learn a little bit of this, go over here and learn a little bit of this. And then the minute that it gets tough, you don't know what to do. And when you don't know what to do, you get frustrated. And when you get frustrated, what do you think happens? Guitar goes under the bed. That's it. So it's trying to keep everybody on the path, letting them know, from people who are out there playing, well, what's the stuff that actually is important when you're playing? How do you make that transition from the guy that goes into Guitar Center on Saturday mornings and plays 10,000 mile an hour, but it's not playing songs, the things that people really want to listen to? What's important, how to do those things. So let's see here. David says, I would have probably given up guitar if I did not find this podcast and Play Guitar Academy. Now I'm hooked. Thank you, David. That's great. And you're doing great too. I appreciate that. I appreciate the way, I appreciate you hanging out with us too, man. You're fun. I had a good time. I wore my Star Wars shirt today. I'm looking forward to some information when you get that amp too. I'm really interested in that. DC, oh my goodness. She's here. Finally here on the app. Hey, good to see you. Didn't realize I needed the app to comment. Sorry. No problem at all. Yeah, I have, this is Play Guitar Academy. I have several different channels. One's just my personal one that I just watch YouTube on. And then I have another one. I have several of them. And so a lot of times I'll chat on one YouTube video, and then I'm actually chatting from a different channel of mine. So yeah, it's tricky, but I'm glad you're here. I hope you're doing okay. I haven't really kept up with how you're doing. I hope everything is um, I know it's tough, but I hope everything you're getting used to what we're having to deal with. Um, we've been sharing a little bit from day to day, and I just hope everything's going okay with you too. So hey, it's DC, and David says, "Can we do off YouTube meetups on Zoom and play known songs?" Yeah, I think so. I think so. We could do like small groups and those kind of things. When I open the academy, I'm gonna have some different meetups and those things. Um, yeah, I'm gonna work on that. I'll work on that. Dean, Rick Beto just did a YouTube video on getting blocked. Yeah, yeah. So I know, who knows? Maybe what I'm doing is building all this not off of the backs of other people's songs, but building this on just being helpful. It's going to be it's small. It's going to start small and build over time. But maybe the words are hard. Word will get out that that I'm helping people. So I don't know. I'm just going to keep helping people. That's what I'm going to do. And I'll try different things. You guys have been with me for a while. You see, I try something for a little bit, see if it works. So let me see here. But I'll check that video out. Thanks, Dean, for letting me know about that. Mark says, yes, I go on location for jobs, different place every day. Yeah. Well, that's great. I'm glad. I'm glad that you're still working out there and going different places. That's wonderful. DC says, yep, it's DC. Haven't done much practicing this last few months. Well, maybe it's time to start picking that guitar up a little bit more. Maybe it could help. I know it always helps me, and I wear the thing when I'm not even playing it sometimes, so sometimes it helps get through some rough patches, and we're trying to help each other here. So 15 minutes to this one, 2 hours to another. Okay, that makes sense. Dino says, always keep a guitar out in sight in your rooms. That's a good idea. I do that. I have a lot of those, the things the string swings, I think they call them, where you just hang your guitars on the walls, and I would just, different places in the house, I'd hang guitars. That doesn't always go over too well with the rest of I don't know. I may have to see. I hate putting guitars in cases. I just hate it because out of sight, out of mind. So, Evan says we're gonna have to get David live with his Spark when it comes in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe after all of this, pandemic thing is done, and we're allowed to go back to our regular lives whenever that will be. At that point, I should be down closer to David. Maybe we'll do a video together. That'd be fun. We can go through the amp together and put a video out. Let's see here. Evan says, give us a review. Great idea, Dino. Yeah. DC, it's been very tough as I was sick with it from the end of December, early February. Mild and no hospital needed, but tiring. I'm a survivor. You sure are. I did not know that. Well, you have a special place here. You are tough. Thank you for sharing that, and we're glad you're doing good. And how's your are you still tired all the time? Are you weak? I know my nieces live up north, and they were very sick the month before that we all knew about it, and so we were, they were thinking maybe, but they weren't sure. So, but it's fatigue was a big thing for them. So I hope you're not, you're getting past the fatigue. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that, but I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm glad you got through it. Let's see here. Evan asked her about that, and then Evan said, "I wish I had a couple more electrics to put in other rooms." Yeah, yeah. Back when they had garage sales, you could. I like to work on guitars in my spare time when I had spare time, and the the uh, the things that where I can totally shut my mind off of everything that's going on and just focus on something. And when you can find those things, they're very important. And working on guitars and putting in pickups and setting them up and those kind of things that are for me are the most fun. And lately, I don't have any of my stuff, so I can't do it. But trying to find other things too. Let's see here. DC says, I shared it because I love you all. I've got my energy back. Yes. Awesome. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. That is great. Good news. That is good news. And Ever says, good DC, so glad to hear it. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for you to get back started playing again. Get those guitars out. I want to hear about you still have the Vox, the little Vox amp and all that stuff. I really can't wait for you to start playing again. And I think you're in the beginning. You did the Start Here guitar course too. I know in a few weeks we'll have, if you may have gone through that already, I have the next steps all ready in a few weeks. Okay, so David says, I would need Lee to demonstrate the amp unless you just want to hear Black Sabbath riffs. Okay. Yeah, man, maybe we'll do some Florida jamming when all this is over. Let's see. So Evan says he's planning to build a Strat using the neck from my Squire. Okay, yeah, that's good. I built a whole Strat using the neck from a Mexican Strat. You may just, you never know. You may just build the guitar that suits you. And DC says, I'm going to practice right after this. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Having a separate practice room or area helps. Yes, Dino, you are right. I'm having, that's my big issue right now. Okay, let's see. DC says I have a larger amp now. Good. I need to go through that first course again to refresh. Awesome. Okay, well, just let me know. Let me know how it's going. Keep me updated. Okay? We're going to be doing these every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Mondays I'm going to do the podcast. So I'm still going to even check in on the chat on Mondays too. And so how I've been doing it is I split the podcast into three main numbers, right? Three main sections, and then in between each section, I take a minute and we do some chat stuff too. We'll do that tomorrow. So I just basically have taken the Q&A that we were doing on Facebook. I've times it by now I'm doing it 4 times a week instead of once every once in a while, and theming it a little bit. So on Saturdays, we do a guitar talk where I have some people come in on Zoom and hang out with me. Was doing the Guitar 30 challenge. Now, I think I'm going to just do Friday night hangout, Friday afternoon, Friday night for some. I'm going to call it Friday night hangout on Fridays. And then this I'm not sure about yet. Sundays, I'm not sure. I know for me on Sundays, I'm planning for the rest of the week. So that's what my head is at on Sundays. And so this helps. You guys helped me a lot. Some really good ideas. I'm going to actually pick one of these. I'm going to do Satriani next week, and I'm going to pick one of these ideas for tomorrow. But yeah, so this maybe I don't know, Sundays, and it may be something totally different. Some sort of a hangout on Sundays. I'll answer questions, or maybe I don't know. It'll come to me. Maybe we'll have some sort of a theme for this. If not, we'll just be like you know, hanging out, getting ready for the week on Sundays. Okay, let's check it out here. DC says, I will, and I'll be here now that I have the app. No wonder I couldn't check. Oh, that's okay. I can't figure that. You should have seen me yesterday. I don't know if you tuned in yesterday. I had this whole bias amp, which is a computer software amplifier simulator thing planned out, and I had this thing all set up, and then I started, gosh, about an hour and a half before we were going to start, and I spent the whole time trying to get this program to show that program so you could see it on the live stream. And everything I did, tried everything I did right up until the second I had to start. In fact, I was late trying to do it. Nothing worked. So I ended up just putting a picture, a screenshot of it up there, and then just going through it. So, technology's tough, man. I've had it with it this week. Evan says we have a great time here. Yeah. Yep. Haven't been able to have my private lessons with my teacher at my home. No. That's I don't know how your teacher is doing that. I know that when the academy opens up, there's going to be an option to upgrade, and I'm going to have a limited amount of people to get with the founding members would get, which where we share videos back and forth, which has been working really well too. So if you're stuck and he doesn't teach anymore or anything like that, just let me know and we'll set something up. Yes, Evan says we've had the weekly technology challenge. Yes, and Brennan says tech challenges make you stronger. They do. They do. They do. They make you stronger. I've got 2 computers now that can handle everything in 2 separate rooms, and now it's just getting it all set up and getting it where I can come in, sit down at the computer, and just teach or just play or just live stream without having it all set up. And I'm getting closer and closer and closer to that. I'm just going to keep banging my head against the wall till. Okay, so Evan says, DC says he's teaching but on Zoom. Okay, well that might work for you. That's cool. But if you ever get to the point where it's you're having a hard time, just let me know, okay? And we'll figure something out. Evan says, love the weekly videos. Really help me feel like I'm on track. Good. That's good. That's wonderful. I'm liking them too. And I think this is going to grow as well. I'll get better at it. They already look better. Each time we do it, they get a little bit better. Well, yesterday went backwards. Yesterday wasn't a step forward, but today's a step forward. I think the chat looks nice. Everybody's names are in green. I can see everybody's names today. That's nice, and I can read it really well. I think it's going okay. So let's do this. So we have, let's do a vote for the podcast. In between chord fills, welcome back to the guitar, or how to build a solo. So those are the 3 topics. I'm going to do the podcast completely from your guys' recommendations, which is awesome because I'm just kind of after all this technology stuff this week. So number 1 is going to be in between chord fills, learning, doing in between phrases, and also in between melody lines too. Those it's basically the same thing, just 2 different ways of thinking about it. That'll be number 1. Number 2 is going to be welcome back to the guitar. That'll be number 2. And then 3 is how to build a solo. I'm going to do a podcast on all 3 of these, just letting you know. But for this week, I'm going to let everybody vote today. And whatever you guys say, whoever comes up with the most, let me know. So number 1 is in between chord fills. If that's the one that you think would be good, put number 1, just put a 1 in the chat. Number 2 is welcome back to the guitar. If that's the one that you think is good, put a number 2 in the chat. And number 3 is how to build a guitar solo. So that's the one you like, put a number 3 in the chat. Okay? And we'll count them up after a while. So let's see here. Evan says, love the week. Okay, we saw that. DC does not like Zoom. I'm not on it, so I'll come here more. Okay, yeah, and we use you, and this will be open when the Academy opens. It'll be like the Academy will be a low price where you get all the videos and everything, and then then I'm going to open up what I give to, like I said, to the founding members, which we share videos. So one person puts a video up, and then I return a video back. And they don't have to be public. You can send me, you use YouTube, you load the video, take a video with your phone of you practicing what we're playing for the week, and then you hit unlisted so it doesn't go into YouTube so people don't search for it. And then you can either send it to me by email so no one else has to see it if you don't want to, or put it up on the forum, which is what most people do, if you don't mind if people watch your video. Either way is fine. I do it both ways. And then I'll watch the video. In fact, I'm trying a new thing now where I record as I watch the video. So it's a little bit more responsive. So you really get a lot of insights as I'm watching the videos. And I think it's been really good because say you have a week where you're busy, you just send in the video whenever you want. I do them on Sunday. Yeah, tonight I do them on Sunday nights is where I've kind of fallen into that. But like a couple, I think Chris this week, the week got away from him, and Moshe, he got in touch with me, said this week he's not gonna upload a video. So it's like whenever you want. But I'll just, that's how it's been going, and I think it's been going really well. It's nice to be able to go back and look at them too. And it's going to be a really nice feature that we've been working on. It's going to be a really nice feature of the Academy really soon. Okay, so Greg says, yes, looks great. Thank you. And Dina says, Zoom won yesterday. Yeah. Zoom got my money yesterday. It was good. We went long too, so it was nice. I forgot all about the 40-minute cutoff. That's no fun. So DC's chat is working fine. Great. And Evan says, okay. All right, so here we got, let's count these up here. Let's count our votes. I'm going to do a new page here. So we got chord fills, welcome back to guitar, and how to build a solo. So 1, 2, and 3. It's chord fills, welcome back, and how to build a solo. Okay, so let's see here. We got one for chord fills from Dean, and then we've got Chris. I'll try and get on tomorrow, but working late, so might be late, but I can watch back. Yeah, Chris, we'd be happy to have you here. If not, no problem at all. Evan's got a number 1. Keith's got a number 1. Chris is also number 1. Evan says, I want to say 1 because it's mine, but 2 is really a great idea. Actually, all 3 are great ideas. I'm going to do a podcast on all 3 of those. It's just this is this first one, but I'll put you down for number 2. Brennan says 1. Greg says 1. Dino says 1. David says 2. DC says 2. DC asks, do you film yourself on the YouTube app? I'm lucky I got the app going just today, one step at a time. Yeah, you can. I don't. I'm using I have I'm on a laptop right now, and so I have a program that allows me to switch scenes. So like here's different scenes. I can go back and forth with different scenes. So I don't, but you can. And for you know recording a video for yourself that just I will see or something like that, you can, yeah, you can just right through the app. I'm pretty sure it just says go. It says upload a video. Actually, you know what? I think what the best thing is to just use your regular video recording on your phone. So you're on your camera where it says record a video, do it that way, and then where it says share, hit share, and then upload to YouTube and have that set up for your YouTube channel. Then it makes it real easy. Just use the same thing you always do and upload it right there, and it puts it on YouTube. Okay, so let's see here. David said, I said two because it was mine, but both ideas are excellent. Evan says there's a camera icon. Yeah, you can do it right there. And DC says, yeah, I could just use the video on my phone. Yeah, so and that might be good too, because you can. I haven't done it. I'm gonna try it later on and figure out which of the two ways is better. I've got a Samsung. I don't have an iPhone, but I think the YouTube app works pretty similarly. Words are difficult today. Between the two, so okay. And yeah, I'd use the phone camera and then share to YouTube. Yeah, that's the best way. That way you can record it, take a look at it first, make sure that everything worked good before you go ahead and put it up there, and then you just make sure you set it to unlisted. That's the key. There's three settings you can do on YouTube. There's public, and what public does is it puts it out on YouTube. So when people are searching for things, they'll be able to look at it, and that's not what we want to do. The next is unlisted, which means that anybody who has a link can see it. But if you know only a few people have the link, that's the only one that's going to see it. And then there's private, and private basically is only you can see it, or I think there's some email sharing of that too. And then DC says, gotcha, Evan. That's the only thing I have. My iPad is older, Noah. I'd use the phone. Phone is easy and it works. I've got a tablet, Android tablet, and it's always a challenge to get that thing working correctly. And Chris says you can upload as unlisted so that only people you give. Right. That's what we were talking about there. Yeah. So good. That's good. And then Evan says, I'd be surprised if you couldn't share to YouTube from the iPhone camera. Yeah, I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. But I just don't have one to demonstrate it. But I probably will when we start with the academy, and when I have this upper level, I'll probably do a phone. I'll get my phone recorded and show each step to do that. And he says, I think my phone camera is higher quality than my laptop. Yeah. So I have, there's something interesting is I'm trying to get 2 recording rigs in this apartment. And I use a Logitech C920 is what I use. That's the camera I use. And I've gotten better at using it. I can make it look half decent. Of course, not here with the beige, right? You're not seeing much. There's nothing I can do about that right now. But a lot of people said if you can't get a webcam now, because they were selling them for like $250, and this is like a $50 webcam usually. So they're price gouging these things. But a lot of people said, well, use a phone, use one of your old phones as a webcam. And they were right. It looks better than these and the C920 is a good webcam, but the phone looked better. The problem was it was unstable. This is another tech issue of my tech week that we've had this week, is I tried to use an old phone that we had as my webcam, And what ends up happening is it'd work fine. Then all of a sudden it would, even if you had the autofocus off, it would just start focusing crazy. And then it would just drop out. You had to have a program on the phone and then a program on the laptop, and they had to sync. And it was so finicky that I couldn't do it. So I'm staying with my Logitech. I bought another Logitech. I found one for $150. So that was only, $100 more than it normally is, not $200 more. So I found one that's coming soon. So I'll have that in the other one. So let's see here. And then, so my next, I have a Canon, an old T3i that I do some video stuff with, but I'm going to upgrade to a Panasonic camera, either the G7 or the G85. G7 is about $500. G85 is like $700-800. But they will stream. They have a clean HDMI out. And so once I get one of those, that's going to take over for the webcams, but I just can't justify that right now. So let's see here. Going back to the chat. DC says, yeah, my iPhone is an XR. Okay, it should work fine then. Evan says, use the beige as a green screen and put different backgrounds behind you. Yeah, I just might do that. That's easy to do with this program that I have too. So, I have in storage a green screen cloth. I just can't get to it right now. I'll figure it out. Yeah, we could have these from the Grand Canyon or something. So let's see here. David says iPhone XR takes great video. Good. And Brennan says I use my iPhone camera and then upload the video to YouTube via iMovie. Great. Thank you, Brennan. I appreciate that. So she loves that phone. Let's get a new iPad too. And she's asking Brennan about that. David says, I just got a new iPad, really good too. Old iPad was not being updated anymore. I believe it. And then Evan R. Okay, Evan says, yeah, I tried it first on my laptop and that was choppy with the lag and distracting when you glance at the screen, but the iPhone doesn't lag, and because it's smaller, it's not as distracting. Yep, that's good. That's good. I'm glad that works. I bought a little, I don't have it in here. It's like a Gorilla Pod but it's smaller and it clamps on your iPhone. It must be in, where is it? It's not here. So it must be in the other room, but it's a lightweight Gorilla Pod that it gives you like a flexible tripod underneath your phone. And I use that a good bit. Let's see here. Kenny's here. Hey, Kenny. How you feeling? Hope you guys are okay. Brennan says, yeah, iMovie comes with iPhone, and you can also upload it from Camera app if you need to do a little editing. And David's agreeing. Kenny says there's one for $99 at Guitar Center. Here, let me copy that and see. I already bought this other one, so let me see about this one. All right, let's see here. Let's take a look. Order now. It's available. Requires extended shipping time. Yeah, that I may have looked at the shipping time. The one that I got on eBay because I know it will be here really fast. Unfortunately, I'm in the need to get it really fast kind of thing. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate that. Okay. And Kenny's doing good. Out of quarantine. Awesome. How's Gail doing? I hope she's doing good too. No more quarantine. Yeah, tomorrow everything supposedly opens up around here, right? You gonna go out? You can get tattoos now. Massage therapists are working now. What else is going on now? They've opened up. You can get your hair cut now. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna stay home for a while. I'm gonna let everybody else be the first people to try everything out first. I'm gonna hang back for 2 weeks and see how everybody's doing after 2 weeks of all this. Oh, that's great. I'm glad she's doing good. That's awesome. That's awesome. We have a really good group today. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. So the lines between chords is what took it today, and so I think, well, I know that's what you guys called it. So that's what we're going to do the podcast on, is solo lines in between chords, and in between chord fills. Now, I think, was that Dino? Dino, were you the first one that came up? Was that your idea at first? Pretty sure. Let's talk about that. Oh, some guitar. So there's a couple ways of going about that. And I think what I want to ask the question is, are you talking about, you see like bass lines, where they lead into chords? There's chord voicings where you have lines where it's where the notes of the chords become actually different melody lines that are working together? Or are you talking, which is what I think you're talking about, is that kind of thing where you comping chords and then playing some fills in between them? Dino says not me. Well, whoever it was who came up originally with the fills in between chords, let me know that was. I'll go back and find out. Just take me a second. I hope. I missed this one. Evan said, how to use quarantine to get out of career beginner with a catch your time. That's great. Thanks, Evan. I'm glad I went back and saw that. Use quarantine to get out of career beginner. That's a good one. Well, I can't. How about to build a solo? And let's see here. Jump back in. Oh, David had a good one too. How to jump back in to guitar. Oh yeah, that's the jump back. I missed a lot of these. These are popping up. I didn't see them at the beginning. Evan did. Evan said in between chords, how to do the little fills that move between chords. Okay, so that I'm thinking comping. Comping the chords and the fills between is what I mean. Some of it sounds like chord leading though. Yeah, it's a little of both. Okay, so that's what we'll do. We'll do that tomorrow morning. Actually, tomorrow around noon, I will map all that out, come up with some examples. Okay, that's a good one. And then we'll do the other two in between Joe Satriani there as well. Okay, so I'm gonna check. I'm gonna take off. It's 5:15. I'm stomach's rumbling. I'm getting ready to do a little eating there. So I just want to check. DC says, where are you guys that's opened up? Georgia is where I am right now, although we are building a house outside of Orlando, and we're just waiting for that to be built. So I will be here for a few more months. We've sold our house. I'm in an apartment while I'm waiting for the new house, which is different. And that's how I'm going to say it. So I'm in Georgia right now. Evan says, good plan, Lee. Stay safe for a bit. Yeah. Georgia and Florida have both opened to a degree. I drove around yesterday, and the restaurants are supposed to be able to open up until till tomorrow, I think. So we'll see tomorrow about the restaurants, but other than grocery stores, everything's looking the same. But I have seen a lot of hair places were open. They're just doing. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why it's happening. But DC says I'm staying in place, but our governor won't open up yet. Well, that's good. My folks are in Delaware, and they're staying in too. So I think that's a very, very good idea. Evan says, I think it was my idea, and what you did first was about West Magic. Yeah, we're comping with the stuff. Okay. We turn on the guitar, sound level went up. Well, I don't know why that happened. So a little bit more. Not sure it says number one, but I was thinking of your last example. Okay. Any of those would be great. Evan says, stay safe. Yep. I'm going to stay safe. I'm going to be doing your videos tonight. That's what. So, few things to do before that, but that's basically where I'm at tonight. I'll be in the house. Chris says, have to shoot. Catch you guys later. See you, Chris. Thanks again, Lee. Bye, everyone. Take it later. Okay, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me today. Thanks, Evan and Dino, Chris, David, DC. Let's see here. Kenny, great to see you there. David, Brennan, thank you. Let's see here. So make sure I get everybody. Mark, thank you for that was cool to see. And Dean, good to see you again, man. And let's see. Evan R, both Evans. And Chris was here too. Good to see you, Chris. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, I think that might be everybody. If I missed you, anybody, I apologize, but I appreciate y'all hanging out with me, and I will see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And I'm gonna have this. Got my work cut out for me. We're gonna do melodies in between chords, doing some comping. Okay. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.